Hello folks, welcome to another daily Bitcoin analysis by Inspocrypto. Usually I would start with an initial comment, but I need some stuff. I'm just really, it seems, missing a lot of things. Debt selling, we have talked about that. It's just pure bullshit. It's just to, I would even say, to manipulate the markets, because it's a nonsense discussion over and over again. Politicians negotiating with politicians about if they should let to collapse the country or not. Does that sound like logical? And of course not, because you can imagine if they wouldn't agree together, that would have a big impact to their next campaign and of course election results. So it's not going to happen. It can take a little bit longer, as mentioned. They can come closer to an agreement or just escalate a little bit. Of course it will have an effect. The problem I see at the moment is that the markets are just using any kind of news as an argument or excuse why the market is doing what it's doing. If they push up with, for example, 0DTE on SPY, they tell you, yeah, well, that's selling, it seems we are coming to an agreement, but blah, 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 blah. Few days later, they dump. Oh, it seems that, oh, come on, stop talking. The market is doing what it's doing because gamblers are doing what they are doing. It's the same on crypto. It's exactly the same game. And that's what many people need to understand. It's about money. It's not about sentiment. It's not about whatever technology or what. It's about money. Money is moving the markets. And money have the same source. So, without any doubt, it's the only thing that's going to move the markets. Less liquidity. Well, usually, even the market starts to lose in dynamic. Not talking about volatility, that's two different things. We can have a very volatile market without to have a very dynamic market. What does that mean, dynamic? It means you see the market is reacting, is always doing something, and not in slow motion, just making step by step by step by step. But that's exactly happening. That's exactly happening. Not only in crypto, it's also happening on the traditional stock market. You know, and then using Nvidia, hyping Nvidia. Now, I was just reading the CEO of Intel saying, no, everything looks good. The price of the share of the stock? Rocketing. Does that make sense? Of course not. Nvidia, I was today, one follower was asking me if I was shorting Nvidia. I'm not trading at all. I'm making other different deals that can guarantee me 100%. And I don't need to stress myself taking into a look. I mean, one thing is to make 1000%. That's another level. That's another league. But when we are talking about 100, 200%, yeah, you will find a lot of different assets where you can do it without any stress, without to spend hours and hours front of your screens, for example. Why, you know, sometimes it's just luck to make a good gain. And sometimes just, yeah, I don't know, to pray. Anyway, for me, it's absolutely clear. And China was making a huge development when it comes to nanotechnology and beyond. You remember I was tweeting about that last year. I think it was in August or September, that China was on the same level like the high-tech companies in the US. And to be honest with you, I like Nvidia. I have two PCs here. One gaming one, a really, well, I would say a really expensive one, and one, it's a little bit older now. It was expensive at that time, both with NVIDIA. I like NVIDIA. NVIDIA chips, I like their setup, and so on and so forth. But is NVIDIA 1 billion company? I doubt. I really doubt. In my opinion, the gems are not in the US at the moment. At least in these companies like NVIDIA, Intel, I mean quantum computing, and so on and so forth. Just decades ago, the US was the main trigger. I would even say the big high-tech train. It was the trendsetter. In my opinion, the next 2 decades, it will shift more and more to Asia. Not only talking about Taiwan, but also, of course, about, well, Japan. Japan is, in my opinion, one of the very, very smart countries out there, but also China. And not only that China, China has a huge market. It has the biggest national market out there. So if they want to launch something, they can do it. They can do it in their own country. They will find enough consumers that will pay the development costs. Means in few years, all these technology, they can sell this technology for much less money and export this to abroad. And that will happen. We are in the transition already. It has also to do with the geopolitical progress, what we are doing, because even the geopolitical, as we know, is changing the whole landscape. So for me, Intel, NVIDIA, I like both, no doubts, but that's a very emotional thing that I like both companies, because I grew up with them, with the PCs, and so on and so forth. That's one thing. The other thing is to take a look, a very cold one, so without any emotions, experience, or whatever, and to see Intel as a company that is providing something, manufacturing an asset that can be manufactured by someone else, while the quality, if the quality maintains at the same time, the only gap that will make one product better than the other one will be just measured by the price. Price, and of course also the security, so the guarantee that they can provide this product without any problems. We remember hard disk and Thailand. You remember what happened? I remember how many companies were in trouble. Also server companies like Dell, for example. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about of that, but many military institutions are working with big tech companies like Dell, Microsoft, and so on. So Dell has a dispatch, a huge dispatch, and they send, for example, their technicians to different military complexes abroad from the US mainly, when they have a big failure in their hard disk in a certain server. I remember that it was a huge issue just a few years ago when, if I'm right, that was the tsunami in Thailand that brought this big trouble there, also to the hard disk manufacturing companies. So, that's another view that we need to have in mind. Now the question is, when you are in a high-tech company, when you are creating, manufacturing this kind of chips, what kind of materials you need? Well, mainly raw materials. And raw materials, if we check where we will find the most of them, you will see it's China. China is one of the big ones. Of course, also Africa. We have also, I'm not sure about Russia. At least I'm not sure if they have that huge. Possibly it is the case. I'm absolutely not sure about. But what I know is that at least in Europe and the US, they have a big dependency to other nations, to other providers. And that's not the case in other countries. So we can hype. We always need to ask ourselves why someone is hyping, why news are hyping. Is really this hype a solid and valid one? That's the big question we need to do. Do we have other similar products that could be even better? With all the factors I have mentioned already. And we can talk about crypto as well. Well, that's a thing you need to answer yourself. For me, it's absolutely clear. For me, it's just, we remember what happened in 1998 with other companies who pushed up. They were extremely hyped and then they crashed. Just to tell you, it's part of life. It's absolutely part of life. And what we are seeing on geopolitical but also global economy is that everything is shifting right now. We are in a transition. Something I have mentioned even in 2021, we will have such kind of transition in economy. And so we will have also in the high-tech sector as well, like in crypto. I was, for example, also just reading that many, once again, they interpret that very bullish, that the Hong Kong watchdogs are talking with the Saudis watchdogs about, to find an agreement about a global regulatory framework, something that the Hong Kong watchdogs just mentioned a month ago. And many people are just ignoring that they are always mentioning global. The big problem I see here is Hong Kong watchdogs are talking about global. I mean, not just one time, 2 times, 3 times, over and over again. It feels a little bit like the Hong Kong watchdogs, China, wants to be the leader of the crypto regulation framework. And in my opinion, that would be a big problem for crypto. It's not bullish at all. Privacy coins, gone. Privacy coins. Now we can talk what means or define privacy. Is Bitcoin private? It's a privacy coin, decentralized, not touchable, not, manipulable. Oh, whoa, Jesus. Not manipulable. Jesus, what a word. I'm sorry. So if that's the case, what will happen with coins like Bitcoin, for example? No one will talk about that. Everyone will once again hype with information that is not really wrong, but it's not really right. And that's the problem we had in the past with spot ETFs, where people were ignoring facts and just crying and yelling, spot ETF is coming, and everyone, wow, that's bullish. What happened afterwards? Where is the spot ETF now? We know that almost 80%, 70 to 80% of the whole market volume in crypto is based on futures. That wasn't the case in 2021. So we can keep doing what we are doing. We can try to create our fantasy world really far away from any facts. We can do it. But at the end, we will not make any money with that. That's the thing. In short term, possible. I remember every single time in 2021 we had some headlines about spot ETF, Bitcoin went up like hell. Afterwards, it was a fake rally. We dumped. That's what happened. Every single time. Every single time. And people didn't learn. They are still doing the same. Hong Kong watchdogs, 24 hours afterwards, bullish, only up. Only up? Do you think only up? How bullish is China really related to crypto? They like the technology. That's not a secret. We know that every single country is very bullish and every institutional is very bullish on the technology behind. Like banks, I have mentioned, they love to see tokenized assets. For them, wow, that's the best thing they can imagine because they can just adjust their processes, make them smaller, faster, and cheaper. Because that's the main goal behind. And crypto would be a big support to that. Because that's one thing why I'm so long-term bullish for crypto. That's the thing. But I still think, and I'm absolutely sure, and that we will go more down, far more down, before we will go much more up. It will take a little bit. Regulation will come. It takes time. Even much more than I thought, to be honest. I thought they will make much more progress, and it's taking time. But however, I mean, for me it's absolutely clear. Forget all these meme coins we have out there. We have almost 15,000 crypto projects listed to CoinMarketCap. Maybe even a little bit more. Every day we are receiving 50, 60, 70 projects. At least it feels like. Many of them will disappear. Use and business case is the key. Always. Everything else is a fantasy world. And wait, because the big thing didn't come yet. It's what I would say the parallel world. A world, just a digital one, where every single person, like you and me, will have an avatar or whatever, and we can just, with one step, go there. Buy, sell, do whatever we want in different places. In China, for example, I know that even universities are talking about, and well, we know that even in Western countries or also out of China, they were talking about. And of course, we need chips for them, Nvidia, Intel, yes, but we will have also competitors. We will have, for example, also digital money, not necessarily CBDCs, maybe a different coin, a private one, launched by banks, stable coins, where you can buy, for example, some property, where you will receive your property as a tokenized asset, and everything listed on a global register. Mark my words today, because in 20, 30 years, maybe then you will say, Jesus, someone said that. It's a long time ago. Maybe I found his video. So let us go and talk a little bit about what will happen to the market. What feels like a fake rally, sometimes it's just a fake rally. And so give me some feedback. I have mentioned yesterday about, well, it was in my paid chapter, but I have talked about the 18 hours time frame, and I would like to know what do you think about that. just drop a line and let us talk about the market. So also here, nothing is happening. We are still around 55 to 56, 57, sorry. So around 56 as we see, because, you know, since I would say almost April, maybe a little bit, yeah, since mid of April, we have started to push up in weights ratio, and it looks, to be honest, it looks extremely bearish, but at the same time, as I don't know if they are going to absorb as much as they can, because that's what they did just before, it's really hard to say. So it makes for me even more sense to check the 1 hour time frame wealth ratio and to make short-term decisions than midterm decisions, or, well, I'm talking here about weeks and not hours or days, for example. So if we go now to the next one, and that's obviously the wealth ratio 1 hour time frame. Let me adjust, as usual, my lovely chart here, my net flow. So if we take a look here, for example, we see that the wealth ratio 30 hours moving average pushed up once again to 90 and then declined. I have mentioned many times, when they are breaking the 90, usually it's time where we should see a bigger price development. Usually, in that case, bearish, and that's what happened. This time, at least, it happened. Last time, well, it took a little bit, but you know, it was here and then it declined. Then we had this here, we had a fake rally and we declined, but always, you can just have in mind, always we are breaking the 90% on the wealth ratio 30 hours moving average, you know, it stinks. Anyway, if I check the stablecoin reserves on centralized exchanges, it pushed up, it declined once again. So some are buying, others are just cashing out after they sold. And at the moment, the wealth ratio 1 hour time frame is maintaining between 74 and 100%. When close before, we had the big, dump. I wouldn't say that it was a big dump, but when we had this dump in price, we had 100% before, just close before. So if I take the net flow for today, I would say it's almost, maybe even a little bit more green than red, indicating we received a little bit more Bitcoins than those who took them out from centralized exchanges. So let us go forward. So also here I need to adjust a little bit. Also here, for example, we see that we received today, that was the biggest amount of Bitcoins I have seen since a while, 5,050 Bitcoins inflows, but at the same hour 5,200 Bitcoins outflows. It is what it is. If we check here afterwards, we had 400 Bitcoins, another 510 Bitcoin, but nothing big at all. If we check, for example, what happened to stablecoins, it looks more red than green today, indicating they are selling, cashing out, and that's it. That's almost it. So also here, nothing big to see. So if we take a look, for example, here, let us just check the funding rate. The funding rate went up from here, declined, and now it's lifting up. The question is, who is demanding longs at the moment? Not clear. Something we need to wait a little bit. Open interest did almost the same, pushed up, declined a little bit, pushed up once again, declined. You know, that's what's doing. And leverage ratio looks similar. If we go, we can see that's what it did. And now It's declining, yeah, declining, and now a little bit more up. It's a little bit following the open interest, but at the same time, you can see that the open interest didn't recover that well like the leverage ratio, indicating they are now using more leverage than volume. If we take a look here, we are seeing that today it's almost red in stablecoins related to derivative exchanges, also indicating that they are cashing out. But on the same time, related to Bitcoins to derivative exchanges looks more green, indicating they sent more Bitcoins to derivative exchanges instead. So that's usually something that shouldn't be that bullish, because of course that bearish, but that's a trap to think that was my opinion in the beginning, because would I use as a collateral the asset I'm going to short? Because at the same time, the value of my underlying asset is losing in value. But yeah, they are doing it. They are using it maybe to exactly for that reason, to neutralize their loss. So if we go forward, yesterday was a very, very quiet day. I mean, once again, if we go, for example, to my my 18 hours chart, you see one day big volume, or one day 18 hours big volume, then low volume, big volume, low volume, big volume, low volume, big volume, low volume, big volume, low volume, at least lower than before. Big volume, low volume, big volume, low volume. It's always the same. It's always the same. Also, for example, indicating that our microcycles that we have, I don't know why, to be honest. I still don't know why it's happening. Why 18 hours time frame? It's the only time frame that shows exactly this pattern, and something I don't get it. Because why 18 hours? A market that's open 24/7. I really don't know. Anyway, we will check. Leverage ratio is lifting up, recovering well, very well, even better than the open interest. That also is recovering, and the funding rate is pushing up. So aggregated in long term, or at least that's a 1-day resolution, indicating the market actors are still expecting to see a bullish price action. If we now go to blockchain whispers, what should I say? Longs 69 versus 31 in shorts, over 2 billion in longs and less than 1 billion in shorts. Once again, Ethereum looks better with almost 59 to 41. And on Bitfinex, also there they flipped a little bit, indicating we have now 2.5 billions in longs, and we have here 40 millions in shorts. So they reduced the shorts, they increased, well, they reduced since yesterday also the longs, but I'm not sure. We are maintaining above a 40 millions. That's a lot. That's funny to say that when you see that they still have those 2.5 billions, but yeah, that's big for Bitfinex, but it declined by almost 10% since last week. So we need to see, in my opinion, when everything is flipping to longs, usually the market makes another leg to the downside to liquidate many of them. That could also explain why we received 3,000 bitcoins just 1 hour ago. So if we now go forward, we are done. Yeah, we are done. Before the Kingfisher, to be honest, I don't see. I need to check the Kingfisher better than I was doing it, because in my opinion it doesn't make any sense. At least until now, they never are doing what I'm expecting on the Kingfisher. So let us go forward. So if we take a look, once again, Tether, wow, red, the red wave. BTC USDT on Binance, distribution. BTC USDT aggregated, distribution. BUSD, and we can see what they did, but distribution. Not huge, but distribution. USD was distributing. Now it's a little bit lifting up, it seems. However, short, stabilizing at the moment. Short, stabilizing here as well. We are talking about 1 billion. 1 billion stablecoin margin contracts, 1 billion shorts in CBD. That's big. That's really big. Anyway, now we go more. We will check that more deeply now. We can see that they are distributing BUSD. That's pure BUSD. You see, it's not huge. I mean, almost 300, let us say 400 Bitcoins in CBD since yesterday. If we take a look, Bitfinex now is doing exactly the opposite. You remember where the price was pushing up, they were distributing, now they are buying at least. That looks like they were part of the architects of yesterday's push up. They distributed part of them, I would say even the biggest part, and now they are pushing up, expecting we will see at least soon a price that goes up once again. Bybit, very clear, pure distribution. Coinbase was distributing, now I would say still maybe distributing but coming to an end. Maintaining here, Bitstamp, was looking very similar. Kraken, I mean, the trend is also distributing but not big, like for example here on Kraken, and Gemini is doing something similar to Bitfinex, something similar. No, maybe front running it a little bit, but that's almost it. So if we now go to sentiment and we check what's happening there, for example, we will start this time with the entities. Let us start with retail. Retail is bullish like hell as usually. These guys here declined, now lifting up a little bit. These guys here very volatile, pushed up, declined. These guys here declining. Market maker lifted up. The trend is positive at the moment, indicating they received other wallets from other entities at the same time. Then these guys declining. When these guys are declining, these guys lifting up, usually it's exactly what I'm indicating, and that's it. If we now take a look to the wallet counts per entity, we see retail is on fire. These guys here lifting up a little bit, these guys here declining a little bit, these guys here declining a little bit. Market maker declined a lot, now lifting up a little bit, it seems, because these guys are declining. So shifting now to these guys here, and that's it. That's almost it. So as expected, the market maker is receiving wallets from others, and that's why it's lifting up in their balance as well. So if we now check what's happening here, weights transaction count with more than 100,000 are declining at the moment with more than 1 million. It seems, right now also declining right now, but it was even a little bit more bullish than those weight transactions count with less, with 100k and more. As mentioned, stablecoin is neutral, not indicating they are going to buy bitcoins. Weight transaction counts means they are sending stablecoins to centralized exchanges, but you can buy there everything you want. Exchange inflows reduced a lot. We are seeing even, but not today, to be honest, today very quiet, to be honest. Exchange inflows, outflows. But at least in the last few days, we have seen more outflows than inflows. Supply on exchanges declining more. while, and once again, the price were lifting up and now of course declining, also indicating the whole thing was a fake rally. If we check now here, once again, you remember I have mentioned the block is green, will go down. The block is green, we go down. The block is green, you know what's going to happen. Even it could be just like here, just a correction, for example. Every time depends on money. If the liquidity is there to absorb as much as they can, the market will not go down that hard like many are expecting, or like me, to be honest. So if we take a look to market maker and what he is doing, the market maker sent today in after midnight 3,540 bitcoins to centralized exchanges. Relatively active today, 200 here, 200 there, not big anymore, but maybe that explains a lot, because miners, you remember, received a lot of bitcoins and they reduced their reserves once again by 2,865 bitcoins. That matches very well to the transaction we have noticed related to the market maker. If we check, for example, here we can see that Coinbase weights ratio pushed up yesterday, like OKEX as well. Bybit was rising, but nothing big, and Binance not doing anything. Gemini weights ratio pushing up, while, for example, Bitfinex and Bitstamp declining. Matches very well to their CBD because they are now buying more than selling. And Huobi declining a lot, and at the same time Kraken, for example, just maintaining. Huobi declining a lot, that's a good thing, because it would be interesting if that's related, for example, to any Hong Kong action that's coming. But I was reading Hong Kong and Justin Sun and Huobi are not friends anymore. Yeah, that's almost it. Funds are reducing their balances once again, so making new lows, multi-year lows. Spot volume related to future volume lifting up, and that's it, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, lady and gentlemen, I don't know, but you know, maybe I should make a very neutral transgender thing. Ladies, legend? Who cares? Okay, let us go forward. So on Coinbase, nothing have changed. We still have a 28.5 a wall, but they are here now waiting at 26, between 26. At the moment, you can see what they are doing. They are at 26,800 at the moment. Could be spoofing, so I would be careful, but they are protecting that area. So usually it could mean a little bit more up, for example, 27.5, and then more down. Because that's what they are doing over and over again. Liquidate high leverage shorts, then liquidate the longs, then and so on and so forth. Because that's money. That's pure centralized exchange money. However, if we now change to 1 day to make it a little bit clear, we see that we are very close here, but the big liquidity is still here, and they are right now building up liquidity between 2020 to 21, while, for example, everything here below 16 are reducing more and more and more, so more concentrating now between 2021. If we now switch to 1 hour again and go to Bitstamp. On Bitstamp, we see they are still here waiting at 28.6 or 7, now 26.2, but also at 25. Binance BTC USDT, they are right now waiting at 26.5, also 26, but you can see they are even reinforcing everything around 25k. Anyway, doesn't mean we can't go up, for example, to to 27, what is that, 27.5, and even a little bit higher, 27.7, where we have a local POC there, to afterwards get rejected, go back to 27.2, fail, go even more lower to 26.7, and maybe then even lower until we reach over. I'm not saying that's a final station, but finally 25. They removed a lot of liquidity, and as you see, they are now step by step rebuilding it, but it looks completely different to what we have seen just before. And they are also placing liquidity in other levels even lower. So I would be careful now with 25. If we take Binance BUSD, they removed at 25 some liquidity, now waiting at 23.5. If we now go to Bitfinex, on Bitfinex we can see that they have purchased here relatively big. That explains maybe why their CBD pushed up that hard. 267 Bitcoins volume delta is big for Bitfinex, because it makes almost 50% of the whole 1 hour volume. So it's not that bad. Anyway, also here, if we take a look, let us switch to 1 day to have a better view. They would love to see 20 something between 18 and 20,000. We don't have anything big at 25, for example, here anymore, because we had here, you remember, 25.3, it disappeared almost. We still have a 25, so we could have a bounce area at 25k, but it doesn't look anymore 25 as the destination. I had so many meetings today, and I'm just once again just empty. My brain is empty. These guys, we are talking about Kraken, is limiting the way up at 27.3, motherfuckers, and still waiting at 26 and also 25.5. BitMEX. On BitMEX, not doing anything. BitMEX is not doing anything. Bitget derivatives, BTC USD. Now they, for example, just removed the liquidity at around 26, and that's it. So, like, the window is open, you can go through. Now Binance BTC USDT. And Binance BTC USDT is indicating they want to protect at the moment the main POC at that area. That would be at 26.7, but they are also now bringing some longs to 26, 25.7, and so on and so forth. So indicating, in my opinion, that we can go a little bit lower and then maybe retrace, hitting, for example, as mentioned, 27.6, for example. Now BTC BUSD on Binance, nothing to see there. Bitfinex derivatives, just 26.4 would be interesting. So careful with that. They triggered the long at 27.3. Usually that means we should go above or 27.3, close the longs, go more down. Kraken, nothing. OKEX still waiting at 25.5. And Deribit is indicating here at 24.4. We have a concentration of liquidity to long around 24. They removed some liquidity at 25.4, and at the same time they removed everything at 29 to short. So on Deribit it looks also very interesting why they are protecting at the moment 26.7. That's it, legend.